Today we are going over some do's and don'ts of purchasing land in Ghana, as well as things that you should consider before making that purchase. Stay tuned as we get into this topic of discussion. Let's say that you found the perfect land and you're ready to make your purchase. Stop right there. The first thing that you want to do once you found that perfect piece of land is make sure that your land is not in a wet area or a waterlogged area. This can happen, and it's kind of hard to see during the dry season when there is no water because everything looks great, right? But then when it comes down to it, after you purchase this land, you begin to realize that every time it rains, this area where you have purchased land floods. So in order to avoid that, you want to make sure that you get in touch with a surveyor who is aware of the land and who can give you insight to let you know exactly what's happening with this land, to let you know whether it's in a wetlogged area or not. Now, don't get too disappointed if your perfect land is in a wetlogged area, because there is a solution. So what you would need to do is you would need to fill the land. So you would need to bring in sand, and you would need to have the land filled to the point where it is even with the rest of the grounds. And so in doing this, you are getting rid of that wetlogged area, and you are making that land secure enough for you to be able to lay foundation on without having to worry about the possibility of it flooding. This can be pricey, so it is something to consider when you are thinking of purchasing your land. You have to factor in your costs and what your budget is. Make sure that if you are going to go ahead with this purchase in a wetlogged area, that you are able to afford the necessary materials to fill the land so that you don't have flooding issues. Go down to the Lands Commission. You want to go there and you want to do a search to make sure that whoever is selling you this piece of land is the legitimate owner. The number one mistake that people make is not doing this check, and it costs them greatly. I cannot begin to tell you how many land issues is happening here in Ghana because people fail to do this simple step. It's a very important step, and it should be the first thing that you do before handing any of your hard-earned money over to anyone. So when you go down to the Lands Commission, if you're not here in Ghana, you can have someone that you trust to go down on your behalf. Or if you're here in person, you can simply go down to the local office to have this check performed. This check is going to allow them to see exactly who the owner or owners are, because there are some situations where there are multiple owners of one single land. The most common ownership is multiple families. So you may have more than one family member or families that own a part of land. And if this is the case, you want to make sure that you have both of those families listed as the owners to sign off on you purchasing this land, and do not give a single cent until you are sure that all family members are present to confirm the purchase of this land. So let's say all went well, you know that the person who is selling you this land is the only owner, and now you want to go ahead and change ownership from the person's name to your name. You want to make sure that you get an attorney involved. So you want to find an attorney here in Ghana that can help you out with this process. Don't take matters into your own hands, and make sure that you hire a lawyer to assist you in this process of securing your new lands. You are going to go down to the Lands Commission, and you are going to have the information transferred to your name, making you the new owner of this land. You also want to make sure that you have some form of record of this transaction. So the best way to pay when you are purchasing land is electronically. Try to the best of your ability to avoid giving physical cash, as there is no record. So make sure that you are completing this electronically so that you have a record if anything were to happen, just in case. It's always better to be safe than sorry, right? You've checked with the Land Commission, you've made your purchase, and you now have changed ownership into your name. What happens next? You want to make sure that you put up some form of protective barrier around your land. There's scammers out here who will go off and try to have someone else purchase your land, passing it off as their own, because like I mentioned, not everyone checks with the Land Commission, so they take the word of these people at faith and good heart, thinking that this is their land and they are the owners. So if this happens, unfortunately, and this person gets scammed, now they may come on your land and start building. And it creates just a whole situation because now you have to go to court and get these people off your land, and it's just a headache. So to avoid that, when you purchase your land, once you have obtained ownership, you want to go ahead and immediately put up some form of protective barrier around your land so that you can avoid this issue. Now, that can be a fence, it can be a wall, it can be whatever it is, even if you want to begin laying some form of foundation immediately on that land. You just want to make sure that you are representing that this land is occupied and it is already owned by someone else. So if you're not able to immediately start building, then I would recommend that you go ahead and put up some form of protective barrier around your land. And lastly, just keep in mind that people are always trying to take advantage. It doesn't matter where you are in this world, you just have those few people who just are out there preying on the weak. So just be mindful and be smart and make sure that you stick to these steps, because you can save yourself a whole lot of trouble here in Ghana when you're considering purchasing land. Tonight, me and my son will be going live. I'm so excited. And we will be talking about the recent event that happened with Tyree Nicholas. So my son will be giving his take on this situation from a 9-year-old standpoint. And he will also be speaking about how he feels relocating from the States here to Ghana. Make sure that you tune in tonight. It is going to be 9 p.m. Ghana time or 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's going to be an interesting conversation. So if you have the opportunity, please do join the live. But if you don't, it will always be on replay. I'm Melody, this is Juss Blog, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to this channel.